This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Welcome back to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services. And we're looking at why starting a new year, 2016, is a perfect time to reflect back and ask yourself, are you where you want to be financially? So I understand, Jim, that you really want to help people become interested and engaged in orchestrating their financial outcomes. And part of that is actually working with investors who may have some doubt and may not be all that confident that they can actually affect change. But you're here to tell us that fixing a lot of this starts with something as simple as just deciding to work with a financial planner to become more engaged in your own personal financial situation. So with markets as we've seen them over the last little while, some of us are genuinely concerned about making the right choices or fearful of making, the wrong choices. And how do you advise client families that you work with when they're having these moments of uncertainty?
I think it's natural as market volatility continues over time that sense of urgency to do something, to do anything, it grows. And even seasoned investors, they're not so sure if they should do something or not do something. It's at times like these, I think advisors need to kind of step forward and work with clients, and that's what we really want to do. We want to reinforce the soundness of the strategies that they have in place. We want to refocus on their goals. And for some families, of course, we're going to need to adjust their portfolios accordingly.
Well, I'm not certain, Jim, if a lot of people have those expectations of their advisor. Like, if you've never spoken to a financial planner or a financial advisor, then you might feel a little bit uncomfortable when they ask you about your personal goals and values. Have you ever had clients just come into your office and ask for help to clarify their goals?
Can't say that happens regularly. What is real clear is that only dreaming or fantasizing about goals may reduce the odds of ever becoming a reality. We know that the simple act of writing down a goal makes it much more likely that you're going to reach that goal. Giving goals a structure and tying specific plans to these goals makes it much easier to get you where you want to go.
Well, you can't just make a wish come true without action. What do you do to help?
I think the better financial planners have spent years helping their clients identify goals and talk regularly about what matters most to them. I don't think these things change a lot when markets are under pressure. Without those goals, without a clear why, it becomes really difficult to help people make the best financial decisions possible. Helping people make better decisions is part of my job too. And I really embrace this part of the role, and I think it's what helps us stand out from the crowd.
So you can remind them of their goals at critical moments. How do you help clients get clear about their financial why when they're sometimes tempted to make what could be a really stupid decision?
It's easy to forget goals when market changes bring doubt into the security of accomplishing your financial goals. I really value having a written financial plan for them as a guide to reinforce their goals, to give goals structure and show where they are in terms of their goals. It's a critical part of an advisor's job.
I've just heard you tell us twice to actually write things down. Good communication with your advisors is essential. It's really important. And it seems that it should be quite straightforward, but as I hear from a number of friends and a number of listeners, it's really not that easy. Why do you think that is?
Well, we all process information differently. We have different experiences and histories. Therefore, we have various ways of understanding the financial strategies that are likely suggested to us.
Well, it sounds like it's just as much how it's communicated as to what is actually communicated. How do you deal with that?
Some people prefer ideas presented with extensive backup and research. Others just want to know the end numbers, and they're not really that worried about the specifics. Charts, words, research. It's likely those who have the discussions with their advisors about how best to communicate with them probably feel the best served.
Many advisors are comfortable with their own lingo, their own language. They deal in it every day, and I'm left to wonder if they might forget that the experience that they have with the subject matter may not be the same as the client's been through.
Hey, that's a fair comment. You need to feel your questions are welcome and the advisor is willing to explain things in terms that work for you. Explain how you make your decisions and need items presented to make choices. I think most advisors, of course, would be happy to work on their communication with you. If you start by having these conversations and the advisor doesn't take the time to communicate effectively with you, then there's nothing wrong with switching to an advisor who can.
Financial advisors are here to help you implement the tools that you need to live your life to the fullest. They can only go about this if you actually stand up and present your own vision and your own values.
Communicating with clients effectively has become increasingly challenging in today's world, not only because it's difficult to find a way to communicate with clients, but because there's often uncertainty about how much communication is appropriate and by what means.
It's all about having that conversation and everyone speaking the same language.
Absolutely. You know, there's a Beddoes Institute study out of Australia. And yes, of course, I got to mention this up front. There's a few differences between Australians and Canadians in terms of their communication styles. But what was common was the right communication enhanced the client relationships and satisfaction. Asking people how they would like to be communicated with and in what form seems so simple, yet not enough advisors get it right, to the client's and the advisor's detriment.
Well, getting that communication right with your advisor, that sounds like it should be solvable with a little bit of work. Getting communication right with your spouse when it comes to retirement planning, well, I think that's another story, and that could take another level of work. Why is this so tough?
Well, I wish I had all the answers on that one. In 2015, Fidelity released a couples retirement survey. They said that 3 in 4 couples believe that they communicate well about money issues. Yet, 43% of them could not accurately say how much their partner earns.
That's less than 50%. So you're saying it's really important for couples to just know everything about each other?
Well, I don't know about everything, okay? But let's talk about incomes and other financial issues that are important for couples in order to plan effectively for retirement. It's also likely to be different for couples at different stages of the relationships. Clients that are dating might want to see if they're financially compatible and reduce potential areas of conflict by talking through spending and savings plans early. Couples approaching retirement should discuss how they'll generate income in retirement, how they'll choose to spend their money, and use their portfolios to support their lifestyles.
So, Jim, what would you recommend for, say, more mature couples who might be marrying for the second time after a significant period of time and experience managing their own affairs?
Great question. Deciding which expenses are to be shared and which expenses are best covered by which party can help keep mismatched views at bay. The survey noted that baby boomers were amongst the groups most likely to disagree about the size of their investable portfolios, with nearly half disagreeing how much they needed to save for retirement and maintain their current lifestyle in retirement.
Sounds like there's a few areas for couples to talk about. So what would you suggest are some key tips on how you and your partner can actually get on that same page about retirement planning? Because everybody has a different view.
Talk about incomes and your spending. Both need to speak up with transparency and trust. If you don't have a good handle on income and your spending choices, it's going to be much harder than it needs to be. The study highlights that couples that take the time to plan for retirement were more likely to feel confident about managing their retirement.
Do you have any tips or additional tips you want to share?
Hey, this one's huge, okay? Plan more and worry less. Those with a plan feel more confident in their ability to assume full financial responsibility should their spouse no longer be there. Couples should discuss their big goals and when they'd like to achieve them and what a fruitful retirement looks like for them. Did I mention talk with your grown kids? It's important to have these conversations across generations. Here's what we did, or here's what we wish we'd done. Parents have a lot of influence over adult kids, and they want to see them succeed. Teaching your kids how to talk about money can be a lifetime gift.
So when choosing an advisor, make sure you're getting exactly what you need, because it's never too late to set yourself on the right path financially.
I have a couple final messages if I could. If you're not where you want to be financially, are you working towards clearly defined goals? If not, it could be a good time to consider working with a financial planner. Without a clear why or purpose, it can be difficult to make the best financial decisions possible. Consider that investing alone doesn't just involve choosing investments. Giving goals a structure and tying specific plans to those goals makes it much easier to get through periods of market volatility. It's a critical part of an advisor's job to be reviewing them regularly. And of course, I want you to remember the 3 T's.
Oh, I love this.
Time, to do the research and anticipate tax consequences. Technique, knowing what you're doing with knowledge. And temperament, emotional control.
You know, Jim, I really appreciate your insights. You make it sound so simple. Today, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about some signs that indicate that you might not quite be ready for retirement. We also explored a few of the talking points for couples to help their retirement readiness. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Joanne Sutton. We were speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services, Inc. We've asked the tough question, what are you putting up with or tolerating? Are you where you want to be financially? If not, I have one solution for you. I'll encourage you to give Jim a call, 604-682-5431, or you can call Jim toll-free, 1-800-665-7178. Jim, thanks for being here again today.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Sutton with Boomer Life and Jim Doyle on CL 650.